Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going through the failed breaker structure entry model. And I know I've been gone for a while, but let's just get straight into it, keep it nice, short and simple. On the screen here, obviously we have a failed breaker structure entry model. So this is the actual entry model that we use. An entry model is just a guideline of what setup you're actually looking to take. In this case, I've seen this entry model play out hundreds of times in the market. And one of the reasons why I created this entry model is because this setup kept on happening every single time and I would miss it. Or I would take it as a change of character and I would get stopped out. So basically I was getting the short end of the stick every time this entry model played out. So that's basically the reason for me actually creating it. I basically looked at my losses, I looked at what I was missing and lacking in my system, and I was able to come up with this model. So how do you actually mark out the failed breaker structure? So we're just going to go through this entry model really quickly. So how do we actually mark it out? So we'll start with the structure. Obviously we have a breaker structure over here. It's followed by a failed breaker structure, but a failed breaker structure is a change of character until proven otherwise. So what do I mean by that? If price was to come down here, at this point here, it would become a change of character, right? Because before this actually becomes a breaker structure, it starts off as a regular breaker structure. So we just have a normal breaker structure here, we have a normal breaker structure over here. And when price makes its way down here, it becomes a change of character. So when it becomes a change of character, at that point, I'd say probably 80% of the time, according to the data I've collected, so my own system, for me, it's usually a change of character. But probably about 20% of the time, it actually turns into a failed breaker structure continuation. Because that's what it basically is. We have normal regular continuations, and then we have the failed breaker structure continuation. And the way I see it, it's probably the last possible scenario for us to actually take a continuation. So when does it actually become a failed breaker structure? When price comes all the way down here and we tap into demand and we get a confirmation entry from demand, that can be a second entry confirmation. I use 1 second, it could be a 5 second, it could be a 15 second, it could be a 30 second, right? Whatever confirmation you're using, it could even be a rejection candle, doesn't really matter, right? The main point is if price confirms off of that demand, that's when it becomes a failed breaker structure. Obviously we have our protected low all the way down here as well, that's also part of structure. So this is basically the lowest point in the leg before we get a new high in price. Hence why it's called protected structure, because if price was to come out here and take out this protected low, it would be a sign that we're getting an order flow shift and we're starting to get new lows and we're starting to respect supply, right? Like I said before, it only plays out about 20% of the time, but it's just nice to have in your bag, right? Like sometimes you'll see Steph Curry go for a dunk, you know, sometimes he'll go for a layup. Obviously the dunk is a lot more rarer, but it's nice to see that he still has it in his bag. That's basically what this is. So the logic behind the whole failed breaker structure is we're coming into the original breaker structure, right? So we get this breaker structure here, we get this breaker structure here. Usually it will be a change of character over here, but because we confirm off of the original breaker structure, that's when it actually becomes the failed breaker structure, and that's where we take the continuation from. So now that we've gone through the entry model side of things, I'll show you guys what it looks like on an actual chart. So we have the failed breaker structure up on the screen. This is one of the setups that I took, and we're using IB here because this is internal structure, right? Can be internal structure, can be external structure, it doesn't really matter, right? So same principles as before, we have the internal breaker structure / breaker structure. Obviously failed breaker structure becomes a failed breaker structure when we tap into the demand here. And in this case, we tapped into the 1 minute demand. We have the inducement right here. And if you don't know what inducement means, it's basically when price fails to tap into the zone and then moves away from the zone, right? So in this case, it looks like price is gonna come tap into the zone, induces the early buyers, we come up higher, and obviously we come back lower, sweep everyone's stop losses, whatever you want to call it. And obviously we come play down lower into the 1 minute demand. We confirm off of the demand, and that's when it becomes a failed breaker structure and we're able to take the continuation. So one of the common issues with people who trade the change of character with the reversals, sometimes they'll get faked out like this and they'll be like, what happened? My entry model didn't work. That's because failed breaker structure happens probably about 20% of the time, for my system anyway. And let's say you're nailing the 80% of change of character reversal setups and you're missing out on the 20%. You could add this into your system and you can make up for the 20%. I don't really care how you use this entry model, I'm just showing you guys how I do it myself. I don't care if you print out the entry model and wipe your bum with it. Like honestly, I don't care. But you know, since I made this model, since I labeled it FBoS, and it was a model that I came up with because I looked at my losses and I looked at what I was missing, I don't mind sharing it with you guys. But just remember, most of the time it's probably going to be a change of character, and it's not actually a failed breaker structure until we tap into the original demand. And depending on what your demand criteria is, some demands might not be valid, some might be valid for you. Most of my demand zones need inducement or imbalance, and to be at a protected piece of structure, which clearly this setup over here is, In this case, we have the inducement over here, even some nice imbalance over here to the left, which I didn't mark because I overlooked it. Very easy to overlook small details. And then obviously we have the demand POI over here, which is using the engulfing candle, and it's at a protected piece of structure, so it makes for a high probability zone in my plan. That's all there really is to it with the entry model. I just wanted to jump on and show you guys. I know I haven't uploaded in a couple months. I've been really busy, I'll be really honest. And I've been working in other businesses, been working on a fitness program, been working on the real estate side of things as well. So I've also been working on my giveaway community as well that we're transitioning into a website. So just a lot going on behind the scenes with my other businesses, but hopefully this does make sense to you guys. And if you guys do have any questions, let me know down below. Happy for you guys to pick my brain on this stuff, because honestly, if you can critique me or critique this setup, it could help make my system even better. So I'm always open to feedback. I know that going through holes in your own system and stuff will help make you a better trader, make you a better person, whatever it may be, right? It's like you're doing Muay Thai. If you're doing a technique incorrectly and you just keep doing it, someone's bound to come along and show you how to do it the right way. So I'm always open to learning. I know that being open to learning is a really great way to grow, so I'm very open for that. But if you guys got any questions for this, let me know down below. Hopefully you boys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you boys in the next one. Peace.